Thank you and welcome again to Sunrise, reaching you live from Lagos. Now, talking about Lagos, this is Nigeria's commercial nerve center, and it's an interesting city for so many reasons. You can talk about the people and so many interesting places to visit. But moving in and around Lagos can pose a huge challenge, as problems range from road congestion to poorly maintained road infrastructure, rowdy public transport, not to talk of the poor attitude of road users. At the moment, major rehabilitation work is ongoing in almost all the major roads in the state, including on the 127.6 kilometer Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, said to be the busiest in Africa, and this is causing pains for commuters. Now, the fact is, this is experienced in almost every part of the country, given the near non-existent rail infrastructure in the country that could cushion the effect of these bad roads and constructions that we're having. Now, how can we make road transport more comfortable? And that's what we have two gentlemen in the studio this morning to discuss with us. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming. The first guest we have is Mr. Samuel Odebumi. Odewumi. Oh, sorry about that. Mr. Samuel Odewumi is the Dean, School of Transport, Lagos State University. And we also have Mr. Omeje Hyginus, the Lagos Sector Commander, Federal Road Safety Corps. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on the program this morning.
Thank you very much.
All right, let me start with you. I mean, because the issues and the news around what you do. Today was supposed to be the day that there will be partial closure of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway.
Yeah.
And this was a critical road. And it was announced, but a lot of people kicked against it, given the fact that a religious holiday was coming up. And you know, Nigerians, we love to travel during our holidays. And of course, another meeting that was supposed to happen at the facility along the expressway. So there was pressure, and the government said, okay, yes, we like to listen to the people. So the question this morning is, why do we do things and then we hear complaints from the people and then we rescind? Why don't we start with stakeholder engagement?
Well, I think one just have to give it to the government. What we have always been praying is that we must have a government that must have the ears of the people. Any government that does not listen to the yearning and the aspirations of the people, then you're no longer a government of the people. So the mere fact that the people cried out, there were apprehensions, so to say, even though for those of us in the field, to us it would not have been any big deal, because we have been on the issue of the rehabilitation and expansion of that road for the past 2 years or more, and we have been managing the traffic hitherto. We did the long bridge. Somebody did not die. We have been doing it as we speak. There's still work ongoing at the Kapasi section of it to Moe. We still have work at the Ibafo axis of it. And nothing has really happened onwards in those areas. The only problem why I understand the whole furoro was because the Kara axis of that bridge is like the neck of that arterial route. If you squeeze the neck of any human being, you have squeezed life out of the person. So that Kara bridge is like the neck. If you look at it, there is no place you can really navigate around it. You must go through that bridge. So the work haven't gotten to that stage now. People know that, yes, there will be some hiccup with traffic. And we never denied that that hiccup will be there. But we said, look, it is surmountable. But I give it to the government that in the midst of those apprehensions, it's okay. Let us give this a shift. It's just a temporary shift to September 2nd. Then we'll go back to the trenches again. And I hope that we'll have the opportunity of coming back here again to review it when we would have started to prove to you that nothing untoward would have happened.
Please, let me go to Mr. Odeumi. I mean, you're a learned mind when it comes to road transport management. Ever so often, there would always be need to do reconstruction and rehabilitation. Well, let me say academically, what should be the procedure? And that's given what the government has to consider, what the contractor has to consider, versus how they manage the people and the roads in the course of this management.
Well, thank you. I'm happy to be here. You've always been taking me from Abuja. You know, getting to your studio in Abuja is like a piece of cake. But coming here is Third World War. From Agbara to be this place is, yeah, so it's this.
And you tested a bit of the, you know, the narrowing.
Always.
Okay.
So, but because I'm a transport person, you have to start up. We tell everybody, start up on time. Don't say, I will just spend 1 hour. I mean, give yourself 1 hour. Now, to your question, you see, we are dealing with road because also the model is also for other mode of transportation. 4 elements, 4 factors are basic in transport management or traffic management. The man, the machine, the road, and the weather. You can take it to the air. The man, the machine, the road, and the weather. Now, the man is the reader and interpreter of the road. He is the reader and interpreter of the weather. And he is the element that controls nearly everything. Generally speaking, we have issues in Nigeria with demand that is at the center of the transport industry. Yes. I mean, it's a long story, but let me cut it. We need a Nigerian man, a Lagosian, because that's what we are now, to be trained 3 levels on the domain of education. That is, we call it cognitive. He must be able to remember all the laws, all the signs. He must be able to read and interpret everything correctly. That's the cognitive. Then the psychomotor, he must have skills. His reflexes must be properly trained. Then lastly, affective domain. He must be considerate. He must know that people that are driving to my right, to my left, are also part of my driving system. When you drive, you are driving 4 people. You mean you will be controlling, you will be affecting the 4 people. The person in your front, by this side, by that side, at the back. So you must take all of that into account. Unfortunately, we are not there yet when it comes to, and also the affective domain, we also affect the attitude and values of that person. We are not there yet in that. Now, let me quickly say now that, how do you now manage that affective domain? Is enforcement. Because when even all over the world, despite the fact that people are advanced, it is because they know that when they are caught, they will be punished. The head of commercial used to repeat something that traffic management without enforcement is like entertainment. So we need to work on demand and later decide that we must work on our laws and enforce it properly. Although there are so many issues too, that
because,
is there.
You know, talking about enforcement of laws, you know, recently I hear you talk about roadworthiness. And then somebody was asking the question, is your road worthy of my car?
Yeah, that's a question.
So if you want to enforce laws, which is very good, because we all need to fall in line and do that which is right at all times. Now we are talking about the rehabilitation of this road. He has said, what should the process be?
Yeah.
So can you tell us, okay, we are at the postponement, for instance, of this rehabilitation work on Lagos, the Kara end of Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. We have postponed it, but what should the process be right now?
Now, the point is this. The question is legitimate. And the answer Omeje gave was apt and diplomatic. That you cannot take a decision and say, I've taken my decision. But he embedded in his question is taking these people along in the first instance. Building the stakeholders into decision making is crucial. That's the reason why we will not have to be going forward and backward. And these are classical textbook stuff. Look, you want to do any project, you must take stakeholders, especially road or transport project generally, because it's what affects people generally. The procedure, that's the question you asked. One, the stakeholders, mixing with the experts and the contractors and the logistics of it, the execution. Because you may put people into, get people into, and the political will, lastly. The political will determine how much money you are putting there. Are you doing this for photo shoot just to impress people that, okay, see what happened to Ibadan Rail? Just about a month to the election, the rail was rolling free of charge. I know it was not ready, but that's for photo shoot. Now, back to the procedure, you take people, stakeholders, you must meet with everybody.
What's the time frame for this?
For the
stakeholder engagement?
No, it's not that it's a walk-up. Look, you know those who are the stakeholders. You can assemble them in a week, and they will tell you what they want, and you will bounce your project against them. This is what we want to do. Like in this case now, the postponement, 1 month is too long. Granted, you have Ileya, you have Holy Ghost. Those two will expire within Wednesday, Thursday next week. Today, Saturday, public holiday, maybe 12, 13. By Thursday, so 1 week will be, because the first objective, just this minute, is to finish this project before the major festival, which is the end of the year.
Which is a good, no-go area for Nigeria.
Now, by the time you move it 1 month, you are now hitting the December.
Okay, you know
so
what?
Taking people into account, which may be...
Perhaps because the time frame for the information to get to the people isn't as long as it should be. Because even I come to this side almost every day. And if I think back very well, I think I started seeing this signboard post somewhere after the mobile filling station.
Exactly.
I started seeing it maybe when it started counting 8 days to go or something.
2 weeks back.
2 weeks back.
Yeah.
Okay, so perhaps 2 weeks is not enough. Fine, you want to give this, period till September. But some people have said, I think it was 2017, January, that we had rehabilitation of this road. So why didn't we factor some of these things that we want to do now into that period? Just so we don't have to, go through this cycle every other time. We want good roads. And of course, they say without pain, there's no gain.
You just
fine.
Said that
without pain, there's no gain. But, we could have factored some of these things because this is a major road.
Yeah.
Right now, the postponement has happened till September. But do you know what's going on out there right now? In terms of, because it's been narrowed already. The road has been narrowed.
I don't know. Let me come in here. If you go to even what was designed, if you look at that carriageway, it takes two vehicles or 2 lanes out of Lagos and 2 lanes into Lagos. The whole rehabilitation and expansion is to make it a 6-lane carriageway. That is 3 out and 3 in. So what the contractor did was to do some palliative outward now, palliatives on the hard shoulder, recover the integrity of the hard shoulder, and now divide it in a way that you still have 2 lanes out and 2 lanes coming in when you will divert. It's just, I think the whole apprehension is just because we are getting towards Lagos. So there is this apprehension that if anything happened there and it hits backwards to Toll Gate, it will hit back to Third Mainland Bridge, and the whole Lagos road is a ring. Once it affects one, you see it, spread to others. But there is no other engagement that I think we ought to do that have not been ongoing hitherto.
Perhaps
remember that
perhaps the alternative roads that you talked about?
Yes, I did.
Because we went, Channels TV, we covered the Kara Bridge, on the bridge.
Yes.
And if that is one of the alternatives that we have, I think, okay, this postponement is good, just so we walk on that road, under the bridge.
I think under the bridge had been graded. It was graded.
Yesterday?
It was graded
yesterday
to the extent that it is motorable.
Did it happen yesterday evening? Because we went there on, today's Saturday, and Thursday evening.
And when we are even talking of alternative, that one under is not even the alternative. That's not the main alternative. When you are looking at alternative, you are looking at what if I don't want to use Lagos Ibadan to exit or to come into Lagos? How do I come in?
So tell me, how do we come in?
If you don't want to come in through Lagos Ibadan for any reason, if you don't want to use that expressway, when you get to Shagamu, take a detour and take Shagamu, Ikorodu and enter.
See, people
in fact, you have landed in that Ikorodu, and I'm glad you landed there. Have you passed that road lately? We also went there.
You went there?
Yeah.
And I'm sure you also saw that there's a contractor on site there also.
The contractor has been there. I passed that road December last year. I was going to Abeokuta.
Okay.
And so we spent about 3 hours.
Did you come into Lagos eventually?
No, I was going.
Oh, you were going out. Did you go out eventually?
We did, but what do you think?
The word alternate, if I can't use here, I should be able to use here.
Okay, so again, I agree
that because the contractor is there, the whole thing is just because of the rainy season. If not, by now, they are supposed to have finished that axis.
So allow me to come in here.
Yes.
Now, he mentioned 4 main domains when it comes to road management in Nigeria.
Yes.
And said man, machine, road, and weather. Something is definitely wrong with the man part there.
Part of it, yes.
This is the 30th or 40th year we've been talking about fixing this, and we know how important it is.
Yeah.
Now, it also means within the man umbrella there, man is not trusting man. Because it's not the first time you're saying we're going to fix this road. We've shifted the goalpost several times, that this road has to be finished first. In 2010, we've shifted several goalposts. The last one was 2017. It has still not been fixed. We have been mentioning this alternative. Something is wrong with this man here. How do we move out of this? Because if we are not careful, we will talk about this in 2025.
Can I tell you one of the things that is wrong with this man? The resources that this man has is also a problem that he has. I recall, and we were in this country when the Minister for Power Works and Housing cried out on national television that the budget for this road has been tinkered with. And with that tinkering, it is definitely going to affect the time lag that have been given for the listen. And I think that tinkering must also be based on available logistics that the country can afford on road rehabilitation at that point in time. So these are the issues. I agree with you that there is something wrong somewhere with the man, but the man is contending with so many things within a limited, scarce resources.
Okay, so let's just take this break. When we come back, we'll talk about how we can make this easier on the people. You know, this rehabilitation work going on. Just stay with us.
All right, you're welcome to Sunrise. We've been talking about the management of road transportation in Nigeria. And case in point, the partial closure of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, which is under construction. Before we went on break, we were talking about the man. And this is a very robust concept of the stakeholders in road management in Nigeria. And the FRC man was telling us about the alternatives that were available. So let me say this to you. You also understand that there are so many Nigerians who don't really care about this road if these alternatives were working. So they're wondering, why hasn't this alternative been fixed?
Because we just saw the Shagamu Ikorodu alternative that you talked about.
Yeah. That doesn't look like a highway, does it?
whether it looks like or it does not look like,
it's
it's still a highway. But then I agree with you here that if we had all it takes, I think that road should have been thoroughly rehabilitated by now. Remember my word, if we have all it takes. The issue is you also need to understand what is the resources available for these roads. When did we engage the contractor?
Again,
that
not all countries
is working on it.
Not all countries have the required funding they need, but with planning, proper planning.
Correct.
It appears that we've not planned these alternatives and these constructions properly because we keep flunking the timeline.
The timeline, like I said, honestly, if all things were be equal, by now we would have forgotten about the rehabilitation and the expansion work of Lagos Ibadan. And I say if it's all sincerity of purpose. It is just that within the available scarce resources, government has been trying to, you want to touch here, you also want to touch here, you want to also touch here. But I want to say something. Within the context of what we have, can we maximize what is at our disposal? And what I'm saying here that within the context of the diversion that will be done, I tell you, with good attitudinal predisposition to the use of the road, we do not even need these alternatives that you are talking about. Because, hold on, because that road is not going to be shut down completely. Like I described, the same two carriageway will still take you out, and same two carriageway will still take you in.
It's just that there's a tunnel somewhere now.
I agree that the volume is high, or definitely is going to be high within this period of postponement. And even after the postponement, it will not even change much in terms of the volume of traffic going that road. But what I really want us to really focus is how can we use this road within the context of what we have now without having unnecessary gridlock? Because this gridlock comes in when I am supposed to following you and you are supposed to following her and she's supposed to following Prof on a course without necessarily creating another lane entirely. And you know that if we go like that, we'll definitely exit that your funnel, quote and unquote, without any problem. And what is the distance we're talking about here? We're looking at 600 meters distance. What is that distance that we cannot condition ourselves and use this road judiciously and appropriately, and we will not have any gridlock on it? And I put it to you. The problem has been when we keep on creating lanes, you see 1, 2, 3, 4 vehicles on a straight course, the sixth one is going to create another lane. And you are creating 3 lanes to go and use where the road has been narrowed that you must just be 2. How do it work? So when you were talking about the man, my own concept of what is wrong with the man here is this man that is an adult that has children in school, some of them graduates and some grandfathers, but when they are on the road, could not obey simple traffic as in, this is my lane, let me retain this lane, knowing very well that I'm in a construction zone until I navigate out of this place. Even if I have to overtake the man in front of me, I just need to exercise patience because we are within the construction zone. That is my take on it.
This is very important too, because the road user needs to be responsible too.
Yeah, correct.
And
that is also part of the man.
Yeah, it's
at the center of it.
It's part of the man.
Good.
But we were looking at the report, of the alternative route, and I was asking the question during that break. This rehabilitation work, did it just fall on us? Did we wake up in June and say, okay, you know what, by August we are starting this? That's not what happened.
That is not what happened because the work has been coming all the way from Shagamu.
So we knew
so
we were going to
this
get
is the
here.
period that we got here.
So we knew we were going to get here.
And when we were planning
the alternative route
is
still the way it is. So should we join those who are thinking, can we fix that alternative first before we even start this rehabilitation?
Well, I need to do quick takes. But let me take it from the issue of what can we do as alternatives? Because this thing we must do. You see, let me do this real life story. And it's in the paper today, exactly the same thing. I used to buy my walnuts at Agbara bus stop. Then one day I saw one of the sellers. I saw her at Mechanic. That's about 5 bus stops away from that Agbara. I said, lady, what are you doing here? He said it in Yoruba, only want to Agbara je. I used to tell this story all the time.
Meaning
they've spoiled Agbara. I said, in my mind, I bought the walnut. What could have happened? Could it be that a septic tank fell on the road and then the whole place is thinking? That's why they've spoiled Agbara. When I got there, there was no single traffic. The road was free. And what did the police, what happened? A police DPO drew a red tape and said, look, you these market people that are blocking the road, if you pass through this place, you and your wares will be in the Sangisa domain, in police station before you know it. Because they obey, the traffic was completely free. That to that seller is that they spoil Agbara because they spoil the market. What is the, and if you read Punch today, the hawkers are already jubilating that this gridlock is going to bring them well. But that's not where I'm going. Where I'm going is that it's not all the time that, you see, in Nigeria, when we have a problem, we want to throw money at it, big money. We want to throw force. That's why they say bring military. They want to throw, but traffic problem does not solve using that alone. You have to train more brain at it. And whenever you are going to solve traffic problem, I'm bringing that story. Is that what that man did is not, he did not award any contract. He did not put more men there. He just did one little thing. There are quick, speedy, fast, safe, little things that we need to do that we don't do.
Like what?
And that, let me finish that sentence. Because we don't think things through. We don't think things through. Mm. Japanese people said, Yoeshina, Yoekange. Good thinking, good product. Most of the time, we are lazy mentally. Mm. We think that this is a problem, okay, bring money, then bring soldiers, bring this thing. That is the mental attitude. And when Fashola wanted to establish the school, of which I'm the dean today, that's what he said. He said a politician does not have time on getting to his seat to be dealing with all traffic issues all the time. You people, you must be doing the thinking so that I will come and pick it. So the summary of what is important is that there must be a think tank. Unfortunately, there is a small disconnect. I can speak more than you can speak. I'm in the academics. He's a public servant. You see, there is a disconnect, which is politics, that spoils most things. Now, where am I going now with this, with reference to this particular road? Palliating road does not take a arm and a leg. Look, if you watch the Facebook, we have been shouting for the past about 2-3 months. Then somebody said, okay, let us palliate this road for them. And with one small Chinese man on a grader, and for 2 days, everything died down completely. That is Agbara to Koko. Ask anybody. You see, what usually take me 4 hours is now 40 minutes. Because somebody just took a grader and said, let me fill this pothole. So palliative is not about all the money. That is now where I want to get to. You see, if you think through, okay, what do we do? It may be dusty. Let's grade Pakpalanto to interchange at Shagam. Then if you want to go to Abeokuta, this Abeokuta road, which failed completely. And that's a very strange thing, that a Julius Berger road will fail completely within a short time. Then the other side too, what we call palliative is not total reconstruction. And I want to quickly put this on the table because it's part of the solution. You see, road maintenance and road management and traffic management is a chronic problem. It's not an acute problem that you can wake up. That's when Opefa came here and he said, I did not have deadlines. What I have are timelines. That's the fact. You can't have deadlines for traffic management issues. You must continue to work on it. Now, one of the things we are putting to the table, we hope the government will use, is that, look, if you travel around the country until this thing starts, I love driving to Abuja, just enjoy driving. You will see people on the road. palliating the road on their own because they are waiting for 50-50 kobo or 2 naira. That is, look, we are suggesting give them kilometers. So they won't just do a place and stop. This local government will pay you 5,000 at the end of the week or 10,000 at the end of the month. But there must be no pothole from kilometer 5 to kilometer 10. Let us bring all the stakeholders, because what was done on that expressway is not beyond what a local government can do. It's not beyond what a church can do. That look, if you bring all stakeholders into maintenance of all our roads, the zero pothole is the biggest thing that Lagos government can do. Because you mentioned something, the flow of a traffic, that's the axiom in the school of transport. Your travel experience and your travel time is determined by the most difficult part. When you are narrating your experience now, you didn't remember where it was smooth. It was when it was. So government should place more emphasis on the most difficult part, partly the most difficult part. Don't go about decorating the good part. We see a government that has, some area that are already good, Ikeja. That is where they will now be putting, you're putting this thing. That money should be spent in palliating the difficult part. Your travel time and your travel experience is determined by the most difficult part. Secondly, the second axiom is that no government can, or 4 years, can build more than 20% of the infrastructural heritage. Now, when you now say, I want to leave a legacy, it's like a child who inherited 10 houses from his father and allowed them to go into disrepair and now build 2 houses. And that's not making Yanga all over the place that I left a legacy of 2 houses. He has left his family and the community worse off than if he had built just 1 and maintained the 10. He would have been having 11 houses. What is the import of that? You see, the government should concentrate in maintaining the infrastructure. That is maintaining the heritage. Not just, I want to leave a legacy. Because, I'm sorry, I'm going to say this. You are having no Oshodi, decorating Oshodi, where there are so many, $2 million that could do a lot in making life easy for a whole lot of places. Ikeja interchange. Those are psychedelic things. They are for photo shoot. You are doing 840 buses imported for 4 years.
With no roads for them to fly.
That is it. And you are backing them. That money will have relieved people's lives.
Right.
We don't need expressways everywhere.
You touched on
just
something.
Maintain the one you have. You will see how people's life will improve significantly. So we can do palliative on those alternatives if we think things through.
You touched on something very important, and one of the guests in the previous segment mentioned it. You said, we hope that the government will use what you are proposing. Now, we have a lot of people speaking to government. A lot of stakeholders speak truth to government. It appears they don't listen. They don't hear it. We have resources, we have the people, we have the manpower, but it appears that there is no convergence of these gifts that we have in this country. How can we change that?
So actually, it's not that they listen. One, in the case of Lagos, I can say with all honesty and sincerity, because we cannot continue to deceive ourselves. And Lagos is paying my salary to do research on this matter and put it to the table anytime I have opportunity.
I was quoting you. You said, we hope the government will use.
This person, because this government is new, and because immediately they came, the university management said, you are transport, give us some 4-5 solutions, quick one, cheap one, effective ones. There are about 60 gridlocks that are identified in Lagos State, that are perennial gridlocks. And that policeman method, and say, look, you look at it, nobody is going to award contract here. What brain can I introduce in this place that things will change dramatically? So, why I said we hope is that, you see, sometimes government listen to too many voices. And I said, Fashola got it when he said, it's not easy for a politician, even in the Western world. It is the opposition party that do the brain work, because you have to go to this burial ceremony, go to a very meeting, go. So no governor really could get there and have time to think things through. We have to rely on voice, and if you are not very careful, if you don't have people will come and laptop people. They can do some dengue for you as the governor. Okay, and because they are close to you, they will say, this is the method you should use. So, you will leave your experts.
What you have said that I can pick from this is that continuous rehabilitation of,
that is it. A sustainable framework.
Sustainable way.
And it's not going to be ad hoc.
Yeah.
That is, it's not that we are going to start palliating 100.
All right.
Must be.
Let him get his final.
Can I come in here? Can I come in here? I share with Prof in the issue of maintenance, but I think we should tackle it from the scratch. The day you award a road contract in Nigeria, let there be a maintenance clause attached to it.
Right.
Okay.
Don't just construct the road a one-off and you go.
Yeah.
For the next 10 years, we are going to give you this road, but for the next 10 years, you are also going to maintain the road. Okay. That's very key.
Okay.
Without necessarily tolling it.
We need to.
No. The tolling is also part of it. We must also look at tolling.
All right. We must go.
And I hope that even in this rehabilitation that is going to start in September, we will have health officials, working alongside, the FISA, because if you have gridlock and you have emergencies, somebody needs to take care of
those have been taken into consideration.
Okay, thank you so much. We've been speaking with the Lagos Sector Commander, Federal Road Safety Corps, Mr. Hyginus Omeje, and the Dean School of Transport, Lagos State University, Mr. Samuel Odewumi.
I love to hunt.
Odewumi. Thank you so much. And so we take another quick break, and when we come back, we'll be looking into